I'm Jarrod Dicker, the CEO of Po.et. Po.et is the decentralized protocol for media as it pertains to attribution, ownership, and discovery. We're really looking to redefine the way that the business model works for all creators and really be able to drive value and bring value back to the creators themselves. So that could be people who are creating independent film, or authors, or musicians, and even to the scale of working with publishers and big entertainment studios and companies in order to really try to bring value, right, and reputation back to the web. The way that the web is built today, right, is really off two things, right? It's recency and relevancy, and that is, to really boil it down, right, that's like when you go to Google or when you're looking for information. It's based on when something was published, or it's based on how relevant that search term is, right, based on what you're looking for. And what's happened is that that's basically started to bleed over and influence the creative process, which I believe is a really bad thing, right? So people are actually creating content, right, or especially in media, right, articles based on what'll get clicked and what'll get engaged, and not so much as being able to give value of opinion, right? And the reason why consumers want to engage and read information in the first place. So by building reputation, I think we're really looking to focus on how do we bring value, right, to creators, and how do we tip that scale. So while it's not apples to apples, when you think of taking an Uber, right, or TripAdvisor when you're staying at a hotel or eating at a restaurant, you're able to kind of look at transparency and information behind the curtain to be able to make a better decision. And when it comes to content, right, or music, or any sort of art out there, there's really nothing available that gives you kind of background information as to how something got here. Like if you're reading an article, right, what is the source of this photo, and when was this photo used, and was this information fact checked? And to be able to draw awareness and attention to that, we're not so much competing and saying this is real or this is fake, or something relevant, right, fake news. We're basically saying, look, here's more information behind the information so that you can make better judgments. And the way the protocol is working and the token, right, and how those dynamics work together is, how can we make it really expensive to lie, right? And how can we make it really cheap to tell the truth? And can we build an ecosystem via network effects on Po.et that helps draw value and awareness towards more reputable creators, and also exposes creators that aren't as reputable, or could be ripping off other people's information and so forth. So it's kind of a very macro, broad vision where we're really looking to create, the library of the next web, but have that built off reputation, which I think, again, could signal and bring value to the rest of applications on the web as well, i.e. Facebook, right, or Google. When you're looking for this, it won't just be about the time that it was published in recency or how relevant your search term is, but how reputable of a source that information really is. In terms of copyright, I mean, this is like a direct application of how people are using Po.et today. So we have a screenwriter in New Zealand who in the past used to ship the screenplays to Hollywood, but had no connections in Hollywood or knew the agencies. I was always concerned that that information would be taken or misused and not really be able to follow the path of who has it, right, and have the opportunity for it to be kind of purchased, right, and executed. And how they're actually using Po.et now is that they're putting all their screenplays and documenting it on Po.et. So the authorship and the attribution and the metadata of all that information is there and timestamped on the immutable ledger, so that they could then shop that information out there. And if it is misused or is challenged or changed, they are able to point back and say, look, like, this is the source of that content. So I think an analogy I like to use is like the value of blockchain for Bitcoin, and you believe that Bitcoin is the most important asset because it is your money, is the same way that IP should be looked at, right? So your art form, right, whether you're a writer or musician or videographer, that is your most valuable asset, is the art that you put out. So if you want to be able to secure that asset, why not secure it in the best way possible, which is kind of the same value why Bitcoin would use blockchain, right? So that is something that's key and critical, and a lot of people are thinking about, which is, how could I have this future archive of all of my works that I'm able to point to and have a proof point that this was created at this time, and not have it be challenged because it cannot be changed or adjusted. In terms of how Po.et would work with the larger social media platforms, I think what we're looking to do is create a new signal, right? So a lot of token dynamics, and when people ask why token, I think the value of the token is to kind of create a new signal, right? And be able to have a new indicator, which in this case is reputation, that others are able to use. So in the example with Facebook, I think what you're seeing now is that, and most recently, is that when people are paying to promote an article, especially from a news organization, it's labeled a political ad. So even if it's like a New York Times cooking recipe article, it's labeled as a political ad if they're promoting it, because Facebook really doesn't want to police the web, and I don't think that they necessarily should. I think transparency is extremely important, and if Po.et could give more information so that when Facebook is doing their algorithm or bringing things higher or giving them more promotion or value, to be able to have that signal of what's reputable and what's not. And I think why Po.et is because it can't be on a centralized platform, right? And the work that's being done on Facebook necessarily can't be transferred to Google or Snapchat or YouTube and all of these other platforms. So by having it decentralized and taken to go, we're really able to create the signal of reputation that could then be applied to Facebook if they so choose to be able to pull the Po.et API to add a different data layer, or Google or YouTube and so forth. So I really think that it's complementary. I don't think that we're really looking to compete in terms of destination, but I think because of the network and because it's powered by the community, I think you'll see creators migrate there and really be able to invest in those opportunities and really look to take that elsewhere. With monetization on Po.et, I often like to just attribute it to access. So again, the same value of Bitcoin, right? And the opportunity where anyone in the world could transact and doesn't need a central authority or bank to approve their ability to do so is kind of the same way that we're thinking about information and access to information and monetizing that. So if you are a creator, right, and you have your own blog and you want to be able to monetize it and be able to give access, right, to anyone in the world to shapeshift currencies, you're now able to do so, right? Whether you're using Bitcoin or Ethereum on the platform or any other maybe secure type token in order to transact. So this is a new wave, right? Stripe is probably the largest payment provider and payment partner, and I think they're available in 25 countries. And now all of these wallets being built, right, on the blockchain are available everywhere, right? And you do not need a bank or anything. You literally just need a current, like the cryptocurrency in order to use it. So this allows creators to really open those opportunities up and reach new audiences. AP is the biggest kind of syndicate of wire news and information, and they boast about reaching 2/3 of the world. And that's amazing because they're the farthest and the widest, but now they're able to reach the entire world. Where Po.et is really going to be that marketplace of availability for people, if they so choose, to be able to use it, to be able to transact and make money. Also eliminating middlemen, right? And really being able to have those dollars and that information of value go directly to the consumer, and then have, the money and purchaser go directly back to the creator themselves. What I think we really bring to the table is this notion that a lot of publishers and creators, right, want to say that their work is premium and their work is valuable, but the way that they're valued today is traffic, right, and syndication and things that could be bought or could be gamed, which doesn't necessarily go into the investment of creating a story. So if you think of an article that might have been created by the New York Times that has taken 6 to 8 months of investigative work to create, and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and as soon as it's published, HuffPost or BuzzFeed or any other news organization could just cite that information and publish it, yet they're getting paid the same way because it's just based on advertising and subscriptions, even though the investment, right, is extremely more on the New York Times side than anyone else who's aggregating that info. So I think being able to shift the paradigms and put value on the input and not necessarily just on the output is where we make most influence. And media companies love that, right? Why wouldn't you as a creator want to get paid for the work that you're doing, right? And draw more value to the work that you're doing. And it works beautifully in consensus on blockchain because it's community driven and network driven, that, the creators themselves are actually powering this platform and putting their input within the platform in order for us to build, the best opportunity possible for everyone. So Po.et as a community already has 50,000 community members. So I think, to your point, the independent creators, the long tail creators, people that aren't necessarily working for a larger brand or movie studio are already using it because it's an available tool and it's accessible for them. The larger media companies, I think, will get on board soon. In the next 2 or 3 months, we'll start announcing alpha partners and people that are really looking to build applications on top of the Po.et protocol. It's something that, based on their level of engagement and their level of investment, and investment being time, what they'll build, the most kind of opportune products for themselves. So we're purposely being macro because we are a protocol, and we think that media companies will create different applications on top of Po.et. That could be a better way to do circulation, right, and a better way to transact on articles. That could be building marketplaces and really being able to tap into new freelancer networks and using kind of curated registries in order to find the most reputable and the most valuable creators. I think that there will be immediate results that we will see in terms of people investing and building on top of the Po.et protocol, but I think its influence and where it'll really go and change is yet to be seen. But this is something that we're not assuming will take a year to change. I think media being cyclical and not continual, we will go back right into certain behaviors because that's just how the nature of the business is. But I think you will see media companies that are really investing in their product really kind of doubling down on what's happening on the Po.et protocol because it is bringing value back to the work that they're doing. I strongly encourage everyone to check out Po.et, especially creators and builders, to really think about the future of media, right, and the future of how we can make the web. Thank you for watching Cointime. Talk to you soon.